Finding a comfortable position. If you're lying on the mat, straight legs or bent knees, whatever feels more comfortable for your hips and back. If you're sitting on the chair, see if you can encourage a more upright seated position, making sure that the body is not folding forward and then compressing the abdomen, so preventing the diaphragm from moving as it should be moving. So see if I can give myself a little bit more space so there, allowing the belly to move with the breath. On the inhalation, feeling the belly pushing out with the breath, and on the exhalation, I'm just going to let go and relax it. Noticing how the body feels. Do I feel straight? Is there tension anywhere? Is one shoulder higher than the other? Do I feel more pressure on one hip than the other, or one shoulder than the other? I'm not changing anything, just noticing where the body is and how it feels to begin with. Then once you feel that the body, and especially the breath, is a little bit more settled, then I'm going to start to focusing on the head. I'm going to start off with a little skull rock. So I'm going to press the chin into the back of the throat as if I was giving myself a double chin, pressing the back of the neck into the mat. Then I'm going to lift the chin up and then lengthening through the front of the throat. I'm going to try and look up and then look back. Then I'm going to release. Again, I'm going to tuck the chin in, press it into the back of the mat, and then lifting it up. I'm going to look up, look behind. Same as usual, especially on extension, so especially on looking up, making sure that nothing is pinching on the neck, so there is no pain. Refer down the arms, there's no tingling into the fingers, into the hands. See if you can stretch down the front of the throat, pushing the tongue into the roof of the mouth, so to create a little bit more tension, a little bit more traction. And then I'm just going to release and reverse it. 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, returning the head back to the middle. And then from flexion extension, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So I'm going to start dropping one ear down to one shoulder, come back, and then dropping down the other way. So same as you did for the extension, same as you did for the skull rock, making sure that nothing seems to be pinching into the neck. So I can feel a pull, which might be strong, it might be weak pull. Making sure that I'm not forcing it, so nothing is catching in a bad way. Playing slightly with the position of the chin. What happens if I maybe drop the head to the side and tuck the chin in slightly, or lift the chin or turn the chin slightly away? So see if I can almost like direct with the stretch where I feel that I need it the most. And then at the same time, think of pressing the shoulder down, deep pressing the shoulder. See if I can encourage a little bit more traction. Then as you feel the movement, it feels a little bit easier. Then I'm going to take the head to one side and then see if I can find that stretch and just holding it steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back, dropping the head the other way, and then again see if I can find the stretch that goes, that works best for this side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back, returning the head back to the middle, giving the shoulders a little bit of a jiggle, a little bit of a roll. And then from lateral flexion, I'm going to go into rotation. So turning the head to look over one shoulder, coming back to the center, and then I'm going to turn it to look the other way. And then turn it to look the other way. Especially if you're sitting up, as you turn the head, look at the shoulder, making sure that it doesn't look as if the shoulder is moving with you. So it's not drawing backwards. The shoulder is staying, it's just the head that is turning. Notice difference between right and left side. I can turn better one way. The other side feels maybe a little bit more restricted or a little bit stiffer. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Returning the head back to the middle. Again, adjusting the head, adjusting the shoulders, and then I'm going to start focusing on the shoulder girdle first. What I want is to try and release any tension from behind the shoulders. So think of moving the shoulder blades. So I'm going to start shrugging the shoulders up to the head. So I'm going to pull them up to my ears, and then I'm going to press them down and away. I'm going to pull them up to my ears and then press them down and away. So see if you can picture the shoulder blades are sliding up and down the back of the rib cage. So I'm going to pull them up and then press them down. Pull them up and then press them down. And then same as you did for the head movement, for the neck movement, noticing any difference between the right and the left side. I might find that it feels as if my right shoulder is dropping more than my left, or my left is moving more than my right. Making sure that I'm not leaning to the right or leaning to the left, I'm just pressing downward both, and then shrugging back up again. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. I'm going to keep the shoulders down, so see if you can think of a nice long neck. The head is still resting onto the mat. This time I'm going to change the direction. What I want is a little protraction, retraction. So I'm going to try and pull the shoulders forward as if I was trying to get them closer together at the front, and then I'm going to draw them back as if I was trying to get them to touch the back. So I'm going to protract them, pull them forward, retract them, take them back. Protract them, pull them forward, retract them, take them back. So these times, if you can picture your shoulder blades moving in and out towards the center of the spine and then towards the outside of the rib cage. Again, noticing difference between the right and the left. See if I can open up through the chest as I squeeze them together at the back, or see if I can open up through the middle of the rib cage as I pull together at the front. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last time. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders. There's a little bit more movement through the shoulder girdle and a little bit more movement into the upper back. I'm going to try and focus a little bit more on the upper back. So raising the arms up to the front, I'm going to keep the hands together or keep them apart, whichever works best. And then I'm going to start to swing the arms from one over to the other side. So nice easy rotation. I'm going to turn one way and then turn the other. Turn one way and then turn the other. So same as usual. Imagine if you're seated, imagine to be reaching across to grab a hold of the seat belt and then reaching across the other way to grab a hold of the seat belt to the other side. So I'm going to rotate, rotate the other way, rotate, rotate the other way. If I'm lying down, see if I can try and create a nice, gentle rocking movement that is rolling from shoulder to shoulder, stretching the back of the shoulder, and then moving the middle of the back. The hips are staying on the mat, the legs are staying nice and still, just the upper body. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, returning the arms, returning the shoulders back to the middle. Again, adjusting the shoulders, adjusting the back. And then from rotation, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So if you're lying down, you might want to support the head. So I'm just going to pop one hand to the back of the head to support it. With the other arm, I'm going to reach down the side. I'm going to flex to the side, reaching down towards the foot, reaching down the side of the body. Then I'm going to come back, I'm going to swap, and then I'm going to reach down the other way. If I'm seated up, the head is already supported on top of the shoulder, so I don't need to support it with my hand. So I'm just going to keep the arms nice and relaxed down the side, and then I'm just going to reach down one way, come back to the center, and then flexing down to the other side. If you're seated, the only thing is to think of the direction of the movement, as the tendency is to come forward. See if you can think of flexing to the side. So see if you can think of a nice lateral movement coming again from the top of the spine that is allowing a little drop to the right and a little drop to the left. So imagine 2 sets of pulleys down the side of the body. One side is lengthening, one side is shortening, allowing you to move one way. One side is lengthening, one side is shortening, allowing you to come down the other side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, straightening out the back, bringing the shoulders back to their neutral, the centered position, and then I'm going to focus on the lower back. I want to create a little movement down the lumbar spine into the back of the hips. I'm going to start off with a little pelvic tilt. So think of moving from the hips this time. So I'm going to rock back, tilting the pelvis back. I'm going to rock back onto the back of the tailbone. So I'm trying to round the lower back, and then I'm going to try and rock forward onto the seat bones to see if I can lengthen and lift. Then again, I'm going to tilt the pelvis and then rock back, and then forward, and then see if I can lift. So I'm going to drop the tailbone, and then I'm going to try and lift it up. I'm going to drop it, and then trying to lift it up. So see if I can try and encourage movement down at the bottom of the spine. It might feel very stiff, it might feel very hard. It depends on how much tightness there is here. I'm not forcing, just to see if I can loosen up some of the stiffness and some of the tightness away. If you're lying down, exactly the same. I'm just going to tilt the pelvis, pressing the lower back gently into the mat, and then back into neutral again. So rocking it forward and back, massaging the back of the hips, massaging the lower back, the back of the pelvis. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, adjusting the hips and resetting them in the middle. From a little flexion extension, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion, into a little hip hitch. So this time, instead of trying to take the upper body towards the legs, I'm going to try and take the hip towards the upper body. So I'm going to try and hitch my right hip up towards the rib cage, and then I'm going to ease back. Then the left hip, and then back. The right and back, the left, and back. So if I'm lying down, I can feel the hips at this time moving gently, almost like from side to side. I can feel the right side tightening to pull up on the right, but left side tightening to pull up on the left hip. If I'm sitting up, imagine to be lifting one of the bum cheek, one of the seat bone off the chest. I'm going to try and pull up on the right side, then ease back, pull up on the left side, ease back. So I'm going to try and lift from the right, drop down, lift from the left, drop down. So see if I can think of a little tension coming from the side of the belly. So the right side tightens up to pull up on the right hip. The left side tightens up to pull up on the left hip. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the back. Just a little bit more movement down the bottom of the spine too. I'm going to start working into the hips or working into the legs. So shuffling the feet and the knees a little bit closer together. I'm going to start off with a little opening and closing. So I'm going to let the knees open out and away from each other, and then I'm going to squeeze them back together. I'm going to let them open out and away from each other, and then squeeze them back together. Same as usual. I know that the hip is very stiff. I can't control the leg or the legs very well. I'm going to use the hands. So I'm going to push out with the hands to open, and then I'm going to squeeze back into close. I'm going to push out to open, and then squeeze back into close. So see if I can create a little movement in and out. So it's trying to warm up through the hip joint to see if I can loosen up some of the stiffness, some of the tension. However small the movement feels, it doesn't matter. So if you can picture the pelvis, so the hip socket, and then the head of the femur, the top of the leg, moving gently into the hip socket. Just nothing should be grinding, nothing should be pinching or catching. If I'm lying down, exactly the same. I'm going to let the knees open as far as I feel comfortable, and then I'm going to squeeze them back together. I'm going to let them open and then squeeze them back together. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the legs. It's a little bit more movement into the hip joint. From in and out, I'm going to try and see if I can get into an up and down. So focusing on the same leg. If I know that I need a little support, so I can't control the leg very well, I'm going to grab hold of my strap, grab hold of my band. I'm just going to feed it behind that leg, and then I'm going to assist the movement with the arms. So this time I want the leg to lift and lower. So see if I can create that little movement, repeating on the same side. If I'm seated up, exactly the same. If the leg is a little bit temperamental, I can use the band, or I can use my hands around the leg to create that little lift and drop. I don't even need to lift the foot off the floor. It's just a tiny little movement to warm up the hip joint. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing with the other side. So setting the band around at the back of that leg if I feel that I need a little support on this side. Using the hands if you want to, and then see if I can create that little up and down on this side. So noticing how much harder or how much easier it is to lift this side, to move this side, making sure that the movement is not creating pain. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. It's a little bit more movement, side to side and up and down. I'm going to try and see if I can now mix the directions together. So instead of going in a fixed direction, front to back or side to side, I'm going to try and see if I can circle around, or the best circle I possibly can. So if I need the support, I'm just going to set the band around the first leg. If you're lying down and lifting one leg up, supporting it with the hands or with the band if you need to. And then from there, instead of just going up or down, left or right, I'm going to try and circle around with the leg. So I'm going to try and see if I can move it around and then move it around again. So see if I can just mix the directions together. Again, it doesn't need to be a massive circle, just a little movement to see if I can try and get all 4 directions to kind of like merge into one another. So same as if you're lying down, I could support the leg with my hands or with the band. I could keep the leg circling on its own if I feel that I've got enough control to do that. I'm going to reverse the circles. I'm going to circle the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing down, relaxing the leg, relaxing the arms. If you're supporting the weight of the leg, I'm going to try exactly the same thing, but supporting the other leg, working with the other side. So I'm going to lift the other leg if I'm lying down, placing the band or the hands around the leg if I need that support, and then I'm going to start circling that leg around. If I'm seated up, same as on the other side, trying to draw the best circle I possibly can with that leg. So see if I can try and use all the possible directions. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to reverse the circle, taking the leg around the other way for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down, relaxing the leg, releasing the arms. Again, if I'm supporting the leg, the arms will be working too. Allowing the legs to reset, to relax. So the hip joint feels a little bit warmer. I've got a little bit more up and down, side to side, circling around. What I want is to try and get a little bit more connection to the back of the hips. So far, the majority of the work has been happening from the front of the hip, the inside of the leg and the side. What I want is a little bit more connection to the back of the leg. So I'm going to bend the knees so that the feet are comfortable distance, and then I'm just going to start by pressing the feet into the ground. So I'm going to push down through the soles of the feet, and then I'm going to relax. Push down through the soles of the feet and relax. As you're pushing down, see if you can think of that connection coming up through the back of the legs. So from the back of the calves into the back of the thighs. So I can feel that little connection happening. I might even be able to feel a little tension through the inner thighs and the front of the hip, especially if I'm sitting up as I'm loading. If I feel that the tension is okay, so I can feel the tension at the back of the leg, I can make it a little bit stronger, then I'm going to try and see if I can start to bridging, if I start lifting. So I'm going to push down through the soles of the feet and then see if I can try and lift off and then come down. So if I'm seated as if I was trying to lift off the chair and then sit back onto the chair. If I'm lying down, see if I can gradually lift into a little bit more of a bridge. So I'm going to squeeze down to the feet, to squeeze down with the hips. See if I can get the hips to lift away, drop them back. And then I'm going to try and see if I can maybe lift a little bit more. And then dropping down again. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last one, pushing down through the soles of the feet, squeezing up with the back of the hips. And releasing back. Relaxing the hips and releasing the legs. So a little bit more connection into the back of the leg too. I'm going to try and see if I can move up into the upper body, into the upper back. I'm going to try and see if I can get movement into the back, but these stands, see if I can try and power the movement a little bit more with the arms too. So if you're lying down on the mat, I want you to roll over onto the side and then slowly turning yourself onto your belly, onto your front. I'm going to tuck the arms into the side. This is bringing the hands roughly around the side of the line of the shoulders, the line of the head, and then from there I'm going to start working in extension. So I'm going to start reaching forward from the crown of the head, trying to keep a nice long neck. I'm going to start lifting the head and the top of the chest off the mat, so just a little lift. And then I'm going to ease my way back down. If that feels okay, then I might try and go a little bit higher. pushing with the arms, see if I can extend my way up a little bit more, and then I'm going to ease my way back down again. Just making sure that no matter how big or small the extension is, you're not creating pain or pinching into the back. If I'm seated up, I'm going to try and do the same from my seated position. So I'm going to put my hands onto the front of the thighs, and then think of pushing your way up. So I'm going to push down through the legs, and then lifting up through the top of the chest. I'm going to try and lift and extend. So imagine to create more space along the front of the body. And then I'm just going to relax. Then again, I'm going to try and open up, extend, and then I'm going to release back. So each time, see if you can create more length, more space at the front. Feeling the upper back extending, the same as everybody else is doing on the mat, making sure that there is no pinching, there is no pain on the back. So I'm going to go just as far as I feel that opening, that lift, and then I'm just going to let myself relax. And again, just as far as I can feel that opening, that lift, and then I'm going to let myself relax. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back. So relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back. Feel a little bit more movement into the back. There's a little bit more connection through the arms as well. I'm going to try and see if I can do a little bit more using the belly, using my core set. So if you're seated, you're going to do exactly the same as before. I'm going to push myself up into that lift. Then I'm going to maintain that lift. I'm going to take the hands away, and then I'm going to try and hold it there for as long as I can. If I'm fatiguing, I'm just going to relax, and then I'll be lifting again. If you're down on your front, you're going to start lifting up into a little plank. So I'm just going to prop the elbows underneath the shoulders so my chest is raised. I'm going to scoop up from the belly, and then I'm going to lift the hips and the thighs off the ground. We're coming up onto the knees. If you're feeling comfortable enough, you can go onto your toes, onto your feet. So when you're ready, set in the position, hold it steady. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're going to try again. So we're going to reset the position, propping yourself up onto the forearms if you're on your front, scooping up the belly, lifting the hips and the thighs, coming up onto the knees or the toes. If I'm seated, trying to lift up high, taking the hands away, holding it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Last time. So choosing the option that suits you better. If you're on your front, propping yourself up onto the forearms. If you're seated, trying to lift yourself up, belly, hips, the thighs off the ground, up onto the toes if you can. Taking the hands away if you're seated. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back, relaxing the belly. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto your side, setting yourself into a side line. It's the same as usual. I might use a little block to support the head, towel to support the head. I'm going to tag the knees so the legs are forward, and then the bottom arm, I'm going to reach it forward until I'm resting on the back of the shoulder. And then from there, I'm going to start my opening and closing the door. If I'm seated, I'm going to decide which side I'm going to go first. I'm going to raise the arm and then I'm going to swing it around. Imagine a glass standing on the palm of the hand. I'm going to try and offer the glass to the person behind me. Then I'm going to come back and then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to try and offer the glass to the person behind me and then coming back. So see if I can encourage a nice rotation in that direction, a gentle stretch across the front of the chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the back. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the other side, or switching yourself around to the other side. So I'm going to set to the same position the other way. So the bottom arm is lengthening away, so I'm resting on the back of the shoulder, I'm not crashing the shoulder joint. Tucking the knees in, bringing the legs up slightly at the front, keeping the legs together, keeping the legs to the ground. Then when you're ready, raising the other arm, and then I'm going to start opening the door the other way. So if I'm seated again, imagine that glass standing on your hand. See if I can turn, offer the glass to the person behind me, and then come back. Same as you did on the other side, making sure that I'm not forcing, so I don't want to create pain in the shoulder or pain in the neck. Just to see if I can try and find a nice, easy movement, loosening up the back and creating a gentle stretch across the front of the chest. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the back. When you're ready, if you're lying down, I want you to slowly push yourself up into sitting, finding your comfortable seated position. Using the arms to support you if you need to, if you feel that you're a little bit unbalanced or going backwards. And then once you feel that the legs are set, the hips are set, I feel a little bit straighter, a little bit more comfortable, I'm going to start opening up. So I'm going to try and look forward, look up, look back. I'm going to try and open up and lift to the front of the body, front of the chest. Then I'm going to relax and reverse, letting the chin drop down to the chest, and the shoulders come forward, and then I'm going to roll it down and twist the legs, as close to the legs as I feel comfortable going. I'm curling back, I'm going to extend, lift, open as much as I can. And then I'm going to release, come forward, drop down, rolling down and towards the ground again. Last time, I'm curling all the way back up, extending, opening, lifting as much as you can, and release and coming forward. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a clap for that. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember to unmute yourself.